How do? Time for Spider and Olde Scooter. This is the deeply weird edition. I've been away. I've been preoccupied, taken up, absolutely obsessed with making an audiobook out of this novel. It's a novel. Ms. Time Tripping with Amazing Females. And I'm now to chapter 13. And every one has been a challenge, every one. And I sound different in every one of them. It's really weird. Trying to make a audiobook is way less easy than I thought it would be. Deeply weird. I'll let the whole Trump thing go at that point. Okay? Yeah. I'll have another weighty thought or two sometime before I'm through, I suspect. But right now we're here to play Spider Solitaire. I know it's hard to see this giant thing and so forth. It has to do with my blog, and I'll tell you about it. So does this over here, this robot in human clothing. So we're going to play a game. The iMac version, it's the same game pretty much as every other version of Spider Solitaire. Little differences, which I do point out, but I like it. And besides, I have a Macintosh here. So I work on my Macintosh, so I play that version of Spider. So we'll get started. You play smaller on larger, up by one. You stick in the same color if you can. When you don't, you sort of pay for it. Let's assume I paid $500 to play this game. When you're recording an ebook and you do something like that, pay this game instead of play this game, it involves editing. You have to re-say it, ideally in the same tone of voice you just missaid it, and then you come back in with your little editor and you move the good part over the bad part. And it's time-consuming and humbling. That's why I'm so humble. You can tell by looking. So, now I will start gambling. I'll move this jack over here purely for the purpose of seeing what's under here. The expense is that while it's over here, that jack blocks that queen. Can't play it. So that's a cost. So theoretically, I've paid $500 to play. Rules of the house, I've got to make $5.50 to break even. I pay $1 for each move until I've made 50 moves, and then I start paying $10 a move, so you can see how it goes. There are 160 games recorded on this channel, so if you're actually interested in the game, rather than whatever currency might exist as I chat away, you can go watch any of them. They go way back to the points where I didn't even wear a headlamp. I wear the headlamp as constant advocacy that they're good for us old people. This is video games for old people. I'm 80, that qualifies. And this thing will save your buns. You know, if you have to walk between one room and another and it's dark and you don't want to go across and turn on the light, this is good. You want to look into something, look under a table, look in your sock drawer. Wherever you look, you can see way better at night with one of these, and it's probably way more appropriate to old people than young. Although I know some youngsters who swear by them. Learn to like them while, spelunking or rock climbing at night or something weird. So, how are we doing? Not doing worth a hoot. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go play a couple of cards in no time at all here, a couple of deals, and I'll be right back, catch you up, and tell you what these other pictures are about any second now. Boom. As promised, I'll tell you now about what I've played 3 deals. I'm halfway through the game. I'll show you in a minute. But these pictures, on my blog, I was just taken with this. This is the fan of a big fan jet, the largest fan jet engine ever built. Isn't flying yet. It's going to fly on the new 777X, which is kind of the stretched, shoulderized 787 flappy wings version of the 777 that's coming out, and this, the largest jet engine on Earth, will power it, 2 of them. And here's this little guy, man, looking up this huge thing. I thought, just impressive as heck. Also on said blog, which I'll plug in a minute with a URL, Uncle Riley Long, about bots. I'm preoccupied with bots. I think they're one of the most powerful weapons that have ever been wielded against our minds, that the Russians and fellow travelers and all kinds of people with motives that I don't like are trying to stir up America, trying to amplify our fights, trying to make us madder at each other, jumping in and insulting each other for their fun and relaxation. Bots are awful. So I have a piece on my blog about how to spot a bot and how to become more aware of a bot and how not to let a bot trigger your worst impulses, like making you hate people and stuff like that. Anyway, so the plug is senior, junior, one word, senior, junior, dot, has a nice roll, don't you think? Senior, junior, dot, blogspot, blogspot.com. It's Google's sort of elderly blog site for us elderly bloggers. But I encourage you, go check it out. You can find out how to spot a bot and how to stand in awe in front of a giant General Electric fan jet. So there. So I told you I would show you. Yes, here we are. 3 cards down, 3 to go. Hardly a dent made into the thin blue line. Got to punch through here. Got to get rid of all these guys. There's a chance of winning. Only had 14 payable points, plays that were actually taken into the system that I stuck with and didn't undo and all that. And so I'm not very far along. So I'll play a couple more and I'll come back and we'll play the last deal together. Here we go. Like right now. I've played all but the last deal, and we'll go to it in a minute. I just wanted to say one other thing. I'm sure you're waiting for this. This has struck me as very fitting to the deeply weird theme. Let's say that you're a Rohingya, and you are living in this squalid place in the swamps of Bangladesh. You're having to walk through mud. There's no fresh drinking water. There's the great threat of disease. You and several 100,000 of your fellow ousted Rohingya Muslims are in this god-awful situation, just unbelievably bad. People are getting sick, people are dying, old ladies and old men can hardly move another step. Some of them haven't been able to move the last steps it took to get here. I mean, you're surrounded by mayhem. People are dying, children are neglected and they're lost and all this. But somebody has a battery-powered television set that gets its picture from a satellite, and you turn it on, and you're so glad to be distracted, and so you get in your little hovel, your cardboard house, and you watch TV for a while, and you watch American news, and you come across this news summary, and you're a fast study, and so before long you understand there's been this awful shooting in Las Vegas, and you learn that America is totally upset and wiped out, that they're just in grief and stunned. It's the largest such shooting ever in the history and so forth. The president flies out to console the victims, and stars and people, all sorts of famous folk are commiserating. It's just a huge event. But you're sitting here in Bangladesh, pretty sure that the president's not going to come and comfort you guys. A matter of fact, you might not know enough to know this, but you could find out if you wanted to. He may call you guys losers. He may say he prefers people who aren't being ethnically cleansed. Who knows? It all comes down to extremely weird, but I'm sure the perspective of someone, or in Yemen, or in Syria, or all these places where people are in sort of a living hell, to look and see that all these rich people who drove thousands of some of them hundreds of miles to come to this very hot concert, and they're all wearing great clothes, and they're all beautiful, and they all have cars, and they're all not dying of bad water, and they do have running toilets and so forth, and they're unbelievably upset. You wonder, how would you guys do here? Maybe. Or say I'd be willing to trade places with you and take my chances of getting shot. So it's all very weird. I hope not to show any lack of sympathy for the victims of Las Vegas. It's been catastrophic, but something about scale and perspective just creeps out of my head, and I can't help it. So I'll show you the last deal. I've done awful here. I mean, look. I have barely nudged the thin blue line these guys are holding like the Maginot Line was supposed to hold. Last deal. I mean, there's just no way I'm going to make any points out of this thing. So, and you really can't at this stage try to minimize your losses. You can't say, well, I'll fold, because I wrote this silly rule for myself that says you have to play it out to the bitter end. I was under the influence of lobbyists from Spider McGillicuddy, the AI behind this. Want to see Spider for a second? Just for reassurance. There she is. Ooh, she's smart. She's destroying me in this game. I can't even figure out how to cheat. You know, the human trait to cheat if you can. I'm not even tempted because I can't figure out a way to do it. That's pretty much it. Chickens and littles. So anyway, in the face of this wild and weird world, I do wish you the best. Watch out for bots. Try to be sympathetic to everyone who deserves it. Try to be patient with most of the people if they deserve it. If they don't deserve your patience, don't give it to them. By golly, you got to take a stand somewhere. I'll probably be gone for a few nights while I grind away at recording this book. If you want to listen to it, same blog. seniorjunior.blogspot.com, and look for this picture. It's down a few posts. You punch it, and suddenly you'll have a free audio book. I've got 13 chapters recorded, rather inexpertly. So if anybody shows any interest in it, I may go re-record the whole thing someday, but it sounds like, okay, I stumbled in the last mile. I'll go back and run the marathon again. You know what I mean. Cheers, my friends.